All right, so this is a very early sneak peek of phase 3 of the style library. So I've actually already been talking to some of the font makers about this, but the cat kind of got let out of the bag, so I decided to just make this a sneak peek. And for any font makers who haven't seen or heard about this that see this video, just reach out to me. I actually posted in a number of groups, last month or earlier. Got some feedback. I've been in discussions on these features, but I don't know every font maker for Proffie. So if I haven't discussed with you and you want to get in on this and catch up, just reach out to me through Messenger or through the Crucible. So that being said, the use of the styles and the capabilities, particularly of the style library, is really one side of a two-sided coin. So the styles are obviously the visual effects, but in your sabers for Proffie board, you obviously have the fonts, which are the sound effects. And for a long time, obviously, I've been really focused on the visual effects. The library is primarily visual effects, but for users, I get a lot of questions, oh, what font is this, or what font goes well with that. I also obviously have font makers who try to design fonts to match up to certain styles or vice versa, and they want to be able to offer it to the people who are using their font. So phase 3 of the library is actually going to bring in several new font capabilities. It's bringing in what I'm calling font matching. It's going to bring in font previews, and it's also bringing in a new capability called My Font, which I'm going to show here. And this is still all in development. So some of this might change, the interface and everything. Some of the functionality will probably change up as we go, but I wanted to show everybody. So I'm going to start right now with basically the font matching, or just the font capability. So when we go into the preview screen, there's going to be a new interface here to the side. So you're getting a full blade preview of whatever you've selected down here. But now we can actually add sound to it. So if you check this box, it's going to add the sound effects. So in this case, it's playing a hum. Now, by default, we have all of the free fonts from ProffieOS loaded up. And that's very easy for you to use, and you can actually, toggle through them. So if you want to check out what the different ones are, and again, these are the ones that come with ProffieOS. So you can test them out. Now, this is all very simplistic, so this is not going to be necessarily exactly the same as the font when you're running it on your saber. We're not going to have smooth swing. The sounds themselves are, because it's just playing a sound, they're not going to obviously be as crisp or as clear. In some cases, some of the sounds are actually a little bit downgraded, and we're limiting it just for the library to give really just a sample. So this is a sample preview, not the end quality of what you actually expect on the fonts. But we'll have the the in and the out. We'll have clashes. Clash. We'll have the lockup. And that'll let you just kind of get an idea of them. Now, on top of having access to the free ones, there's going to be the new first part is going to be the matched fonts. So this is just placeholder information. So the matched fonts are going to be based on my discussions with the font makers, which styles they think work best or they recommend for particular fonts from the library. So if you go into one of the styles, any fonts that would be considered to be matched to that style will show up here, and you can choose from the drop down. So if there's more than one, they'll be listed alphabetically, and you can just choose them. Now, the new functionality is going to be, when you're previewing a font, when you like a font, this little guy here will let you get the font and you'll link out. Now, right now, these are just placeholders, but if I go back to the open source one and I click get this font, I get the free sounds. When the other paid fonts and all the font makers information is loaded, if you're in any of the match fonts or paid fonts, when you toggle through, this link will update so that you can get to that specific font. If it's for purchase or download, you obviously go to the external site that provides that information. Again, these will be samples. They're not going to be the full font. It's going to be a sample of the font, just to give you kind of a rough idea. Now, in addition to match fonts, so match fonts are going to be specific to each style. So right now, the match fonts for this style, because I chose the original trilogy, are obviously just these three. But if I go back and I change this to a prequel, and then I go in, it's going to update. I didn't have it available. Let me go. Let's see. Go. I think I built some of these. I thought I built some of them. I may not have. So we'll stick with the original trilogy. All right, so I had thought I had built out the other ones, but that might be a different demo. But yeah, so they'll update if available. Now, if there's no match fonts, you can actually see all of the paid fonts. These are going to be categorized. So they'll be categorized by specific type, and these might change as we get more fonts added. But you can toggle through and you'll be able to see, in this case, this is all placeholder info. But you'll actually preview all of the fonts that are in the library. And then again, the link will take you out to where you can get it. And you'll be able to listen to it. So that's all coming. I'll be working with the font makers to do that. Now, the other piece of this is actually for fonts that you already have. I'm building this new My Font capability in. And what My Font does is it's going to let you load up sound files from fonts that you have on your machine. Now, these only temporarily run. It's not actually uploading the sounds. It's just using them temporarily while this browser is open. If you close this window or if you navigate away, they actually will no longer work, so they're temporary. But for example, preons, the preon effects in the library actually all auto-time themselves. So if I wanted to test out what a preon looks like with a specific sound, I can actually just choose it. And this is from a specific font maker. So I'm going to choose the preon sound. I can also change out the hum if I wanted to. Use a local hum. I can use an out file. And again, it's only certain sounds. We're not going to load up the whole OS. But just some basic sounds to be able to test some stuff. Get a swing. So this will let you actually see, kind of get a visual. The swing is accent swings. We're not doing a smooth swing. Clash. And we'll get a lock. Okay, so I can load those up. And now, if I want to, I can test preons. But so I've got a preon effect selected. And now when I click preon, this is going to, so all the preon effects in the library auto-time themselves to the preon sound. So when you load your preon sound up, this effect will auto-time itself. So, or I can try a different one. I can change the color. Let's go to orange red. I can test it. Now you're able to actually preview preons or any other effects that you want. And then again, we loaded up our ins and outs and hums so we can see what that does. So this will allow you to quickly test using these sounds. Now, if you close this window and come back, these sounds might get lost depending on your browser. Typically, I think when I close the window, they went away. But if I wanted to, I could test these sounds against other styles. So let's see, it might make me reload them. If I grab one of these, the Star Wars Visions. Okay, it actually held it. So I think it's while the browser stays open. They're temporarily there. These don't go anywhere. You're not loading your files to any server anywhere. They just run locally off of your PC or Mac. But so this gives you that ability to see. And of course, obviously, if you're with it and you're at work and you don't want the sound to keep going, just uncheck the box. But so still a lot of work to do on this. And I am discussing with the various font makers to be able to set up their fonts, link to them, and make this all work. And then obviously get this launched once everything is tested and built out. But still lots of work to do on this, more discussion with the font makers, but this is on the way for phase 3. So no date yet, so don't ask. I obviously have a good amount of work to do, just getting the fonts from the font makers and then getting them coded in so that they run. So, but thanks for watching, and keep an eye on the space. Lots more coming.